Oh.
Can't have that.
Welcome to the shop. We've got the Hobby King Flycat version 2. Never flew the version 1, so I can't really compare it. I hear this one has retracts, the other one didn't, and this has a more efficient motor. Don't know. Like the color scheme on this one too. Saw pictures of the V1. This one, a lot easier to see. In this video, I'm going to do pretty much what I always do, except I'm not going to go through an unboxing. Because a lot of these videos, the unboxings take a little time, and I don't want to make a bunch of 30-minute videos. So I'm going to truncate a little bit and just show the parts count. However, if you love those unboxings, please let me know. If enough of you say, hey, please, Will, we love an unboxing, I'll put it in there. So I'm going to go through the parts. I'm going to go through the assembly. There's quite a bit of assembly on this plane. You know, it's not just, click a few things together and go fly. There's a little bit more to it. Going to go through my setup page, which I always do, and then Maiden Flight, and we're going to come back and talk about what does it do well, what does it not do as well, and just to set your expectations properly on who is this plane for. So, if you have a question, leave a comment. If you like this kind of stuff, hit that like button. If you're curious about all the pieces and parts, or as far as the tools and some of the things I use, usually there are links in the description below, along with a link to this plane from Hobby King. So anyway, stick around and we'll get after it. All right, here's all the pieces and parts. You got the tail booms, 2 of those. You got the elevator. Those have the rudders on them. Wings with ailerons. And the fuse, which we'll get into. Yeah, figure it all out, get it all assembled, fly the heck out of it, have some fun with it. Gonna take this and rough it up a little. Rough up all of these. And I'm just going to use a little Yoo-hoo pour, because that's what I have laying around right now. Let me get a brush and get this well coated. I'm a big fan of these cheapo brushes I get off Amazon, just to spread the glue around instead of having it blobbed all over. To me, it just adheres better, works better. Just putting a little bit on the surface as well. Like with a lot of the contact cements, you apply it, you put it in place, and then you take it off and let it kind of skim over a little bit. With Yoo-hoo pour, I just let it sit for a minute or two and then put everything back together. And put them back on. Press them down very firmly, and it locks into place pretty good. Let that sit for a minute. Now we're putting on the top piece, and that requires a little more glue around the sides. This process goes pretty fast. It's just one of those things you deal with some of these planes. They're not all just click together and fly. Okay. We're going to glue on one of these side booms here. And just don't get excited with gluing these on and forget to put in the tail piece, the elevator. That would be bad. So I'm going to put a little, just a little here, because if you put too much along here, it's just going to smear out or squeeze out and make a mess. So I'm not really going to put much on that. Getting this pushed into place, making sure it's seated all the way. Got this here and this one underneath to tie into that, the rudder. This is for the aileron. Make sure those are out. Kind of a line. Make sure this is seated all the way. We need to put, and we have this cable that needs to go, kind of routes through the slot right there. So, as you can see, I'm using this dowel rod and pushing the servo wire into that little channel that's already existing. And you'll do that on a couple things here on this plane. Just routing the cables and then eventually covering things up. And there's a little cover that goes up, gets glued over this. Kind of a tricky process going through this assembly. But get there, push that together. Happy about that. And then the others route accordingly. Oh, no, I got that wrapped around wrong. I don't like that. Okay, there we go. These get pushed into here. Little cavity right here. And as I slide that aluminum spar, wing spar through there, I put the connector about like so, and it kind of gets trapped in this cavity. And then slide in place, double check that it looks like it's seated properly, and we're good. You'll notice here is where you got the elevator and a bunch of elevator rudder and some other cables going through. These have these pieces here, which are going to get glued on like so. And then again, I'm going to put probably some either clear tape, or if I can find some gray tape, I'll put that over there to lock that in place. A little bit of glue, lock it in place. And we're good to go. That's it. Screw on the wings, and then we'll start setting up the radio and getting that all sorted. This just screws in, like so. The assembly isn't really that bad. Yes, you got to glue some pieces together, but it goes very quickly. Obviously, I'm filming here, so it takes me a little bit longer, but if you just jam through it, it'll take no time at all to assemble this great plane. Couple things that I did based on other people's reviews. One is make a little more clearance around that front nose steering. The strap for the battery was way too big. I had to swap that out. There's a little panel in the back, and if you stick your finger in one of the side holes, push up, it opens up, and that's where the ESC is. All right, she's all set and ready to roll. A lot of little things had to get done. The strap didn't work so well, the one that came with it, so I put in a different strap that had, it was smaller. The other one was really long, and the 3000 batteries wouldn't work so well. Put in my shelf liner, give it a little more grip. There's foam, but it just isn't very grippy, so I use my shelf liner. I have an AR 631 with AS3X Plus on it. Use the settings for Model Aviators for his AS3X Plus, copied those. All the rest of the settings are pretty much stock with high, with a fair amount of expo. We'll take it up, and I'll show you all that. Here's the setup info, and it says for CG 85, it measures right there. And we're gonna get her up, trim her out, and then work on landings. All right, let's go. Boy, she wants to climb like crazy. A little sensitive.
Gear up.
A little sensitive on the roll for me. Yeah, definitely want to back off on that roll. But I think
Time remaining 3 minutes.
put AS3X mode in. All right, we got AS3X mode going. All right, gonna do a little stall. Pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. She just kind of falls. Nothing too exciting. Gonna do a full speed pass here.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
All right, let me work on some approaches. Got a lot of playing around to do with her today. Get her to fly just how I want her to fly.
Braking.
Okay, I definitely have, for me, way too much throw in the ailerons. So I'm going to change that, and then we'll pick her up again. All right, here we go.
Gear up.
Do a high-speed pass. Up. Throttle off. Little throttle. We'll do a slow pass here. Straight up.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
Tight loop. Gonna try to do an accelerated stall out of her. See if she'll do that. Want to do that over here though. All right, we're gonna just jam back on that elevator. Yeah, she stalled a little there. That was a lot of elevator though. You have to try hard to stall it. Do another stall. That was pretty good.
Time remaining 2 minutes. Gear down.
Do a couple approaches here. She lands not, I mean, she slows down, tracks easy, nothing weird about her. She flies good.
Braking.
Glides really well, holds a lot of energy, so at idle throttle she comes in nice.
Braking. Motor off.
Okay, that was pretty simple. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about a couple things. Summarize, this plane. First off, the appearance. It is different. There's not many planes you're going to see at the field like this. At my field, there were some that are like, that is very cool, and others that didn't think it was so cool. Mixed feelings on it. It's highly visible, and it's different. And sometimes that's kind of cool to have. It's a plane that nobody's seen before. And so this fits that bill, absolutely. Assembly, there's no doubt. There's gluing and running cables and gluing some more and some screwing. Fiddling around with the cables. I had to put a new strap in there. There's just things that need to be accomplished to get this flight ready. The good news is this is low cost. This is a pretty inexpensive airplane. And so, yeah, you're going to do a little bit more work, per se, to get it up and running. But I don't see that as a bad thing. I think it's really good to understand how the pieces and parts go together, how the cables are routed. No problem at all. If you wanted to get this thing up in the air, you can very quickly. I'm filming all the time and doing some things and whatever, but it took some time. But if you want to slap this thing together, you can do it, easily in an evening and be ready to fly the next morning. The most important part, right, is how the heck does it fly? What is the flight performance? So from a speed perspective, I had it on my little GPS speedometer thing, got it for like 96 miles an hour. That's not that fast, but the good thing is that it will fly very slow and stable. So it will go fast enough, do all the maneuvers. I didn't find it fast, but I found that it had plenty of thrust. So going from slow speed straight up, full throttle, it had no issues at all with that and climbed exceptionally well. like I was saying, the slow speed without the nasty stalls. I bounce landing, and a Viper 70mm would have cartwheeled, no doubt about it. This, it just started speeding up as I gave throttle and just wallowed a little bit, got on step, and it was no big deal. From that perspective, I mean, that is a big deal on these EDFs for a first EDF, is one that doesn't have those horrible stall tendencies. Hey, don't get me wrong, I love the Viper 70. Cool plane, super fast, sleek, but you muff up a landing or you do some things, it does have some stall tendencies. Aerobatics, you saw, it'll do it all. I could do all the big loops, the short loops, tight loops. It will if you jam on that elevator at full speed. It's going to snap on you. Of course it will. So CG-wise, it was very, not flexible, wide range. That was good. I thought this plane had a lot of great flight characteristics, and I enjoyed flying it. Folks at the field thought it flew great. Landings really were very nice. Easy to get that nose up. The one time I came in hot, bounced it a little bit. Like I said, I could full throttle, power out of it, not an issue. Most of the landings I was doing though, I mean, I could get that nose up and really slow her down. Reverse thrust is helpful as well. So, bottom line though is, who's this plane for? And I do think that anyone is going to enjoy this plane. A new pilot, who is ready for their first EDF, this plane will fly slow. And that's what you want, is a plane that isn't getting ahead of you. And this one will do that. As always, I highly recommend folks, if you're transitioning from a trainer or a, kind of a low wing, faster plane to an EDF, have somebody help you on that first flight or so. Maybe a buddy box, or maybe get it trimmed out for you. The speed is a big deal on all these planes. Even this plane that can fly slow, you might need some help on it if you're a newer pilot. More experienced pilot, you're gonna have a lot of fun with this thing. It's low cost. Get some new pilots trained on something like this, because it is a really cool plane. Anyway, that's my thought on it. Look, as I said, the cost of this thing is relatively low. You assemble, lower cost. If you're interested in this, there's a link in the description below. If you have any questions, leave a comment. And obviously, love to hit that like button. It helps me out, makes me feel good about making these videos. So anyway, take care, have a great day. Thanks for watching.